Hello my friends, it's Mario Taku and today we're gonna talk about Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is one of the animes this season I look forward to every single time, among others like Dr. Stone, Takagi-san, and others. While watching the first 3 episodes, one thing really stood out to me and that was Thors. I haven't read the manga yet, but I know the focus of Vinland Saga is gonna be on Thorfinn and not his father because, well, the synopsis kind of spoils what happens. But Thors really impresses me in terms of his personal philosophy and how he changes from like a god tier fighter to someone who tries to avoid violence. This is contrasted by the younger kids who are all amped up to go to war. And the reason why this topic really fascinates me because I've been down a similar mental journey growing up. The first scene where we see him show empathy and value life is when he tries to desperately save the runaway slave. The guy was buried under snow for several hours and near death, but Thors tries all he can to save him. He eventually does wake up, but it's clear he's not gonna make it much longer. Not with their technology. And even in our day and age, your chances are slim, so don't try to freeze yourself and hope you'll wake up in the future. In the slave's short time left, Thors paints an image of paradise in his mind. A land with no war, no slavery, and where it's warm. Like, especially if you've been living in like a frozen, barren land for such a long time, that sounds like heaven. When Halfdan comes over to retrieve his slave, Thors offers him like the highest price to buy it off of him so he would be free in his last moments. Now you're probably wondering like, why did he do it? Like, why would he pay such a freaking high price for someone who's about to die? Well, I think Thors would rather him die free than back in captivity where he'd be like tortured and used as a prop to terrorize the other slaves. So how did he change? How did Thors go from like a legendary warrior to someone who values human life and tries to avoid fighting if possible? I would say there are 2 main reasons as to why he's changed. At least that's what they show us. Well, number 1 is his daughter. This can explain why he leaves the army. Thors now has something to lose. I mean, here's a freaking child with half your DNA, alright? Most people would feel some sort of like connection or obligation towards it. So like you shouldn't throw away your life or do dangerous stuff when you have more to lose. And after he has Thorfinn, he tries to steer him into a path of peacefulness as much as possible. Like you can see that Thors is angry, like he's very furious that he needs to fight, especially when his son is there. Like a few days ago, he took away his knife from Thorfinn, right? But now he just gotta like give it right back at him so he can protect himself. And like, if I was the parent, I would feel like I'd failed to protect his innocence somehow. So Thors originally wanted to drop him off at Norway and bamboozle everybody and then just head off on his own, right? Because he didn't want to get anybody else involved. But now he can't because someone stabbed him in his back. So his kids, I would say, is like one reason why he's reluctant to fight. But being protective and staying away from dangerous activities doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be reluctant to kill. Now, I would say it's because he's had first-hand experience in ending someone's life. Like he knows the gravity of the situation, he's taking away their experiences, their personality that was shaped by those experiences, and what about the people that they care about, right? Or the people that care about them? This is somebody's brother, they're someone's father or somebody's son, and what about their dreams? In a different situation, you could have been friends. Being able to think this deeply about something like this comes from like empathy, which he definitely has when we see him save the slave and giving in to Floki's demands so his village would be spared. And another factor would be maturity and experiences. Moving away from like a black and white mentality comes from being older. And now I'm gonna tie things back to myself now, because when I was a wee young lad, I was fascinated with like warfare. You know, I read a lot about the World Wars 1 and 2, right? Vietnam and all that. And I wonder what it would be like to become a hero and have my story immortalized. But somewhere along my life as I got older, I started seeing that things weren't so cut and dry. It wasn't like a battle between good versus evil. Like when you go to war, you're not only fighting against a country, but you're also fighting against people. People like you. But when you're fighting, right, when it's during wartime, you're not supposed to think that way. And that's where propaganda comes in. Like there's this whole tactic of dehumanizing the enemy, portraying them as like animals or demon-shaped things that are like gonna destroy your way of life is a pretty common way of riling people up. and I'm confident in saying that most people don't naturally care for others in like lands far away enough to go to war. Alright, our main concerns are like friends, family, having a stable source of income, right? Like stability in general. And when wars happen, it's usually because, rulers or politicians declared it. And if you're an able-bodied male, well, sucks to be you, you're sent out to fight. So the situation's a little bit unfortunate, and on top of all of that, war is pretty profitable these days, so there's kind of a heavy incentive to go to war. So that's the reason why Thors is such a fascinating character to me, because I've been that kid. I've been that kid really eager to fight and all that, and now I can understand what Thors is thinking. I guess in a way this is like a character review more than anything. I'm not really talking about Vinland Saga in general, so it's kind of like waifu reviews. So this might be the first husbando review on my channel, so congratulations for witnessing the birth of a new segment. And if you're still watching and you found this video interesting, consider subscribing. And next time, I'm gonna give you my first impressions of Dr. Stone. And as always, my friends, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. This can explain why he leaves the army, like, almost a Thanos.